I tend to ask myself this question: can you be a genius or highly intelligent and still an idiot?
What?
And I always come with the conclusion of absolutely. I was listening to Stephen A. just the other day regarding the Chicago shootings on Juneteenth, and he was making a correlation and comparison with the Austin Metcalf and the Carmelo Anthony case, and how people like Charleston White and other YouTube influencers with the likes of Officer Tatum was given a diagnosis of Dr. Umar Johnson. When it comes to the case of Carmelo Anthony stabbing and murdering Austin Metcalf, Dr. Umar made some allegations referencing that Austin Metcalf somehow fell on Carmelo Anthony knife, even though that none of the reports, none of the eyewitnesses, none of the evidence stated and or alluded to that. And so Stephen A. was given an account and take of the response and reaction of Officer Tatum. And he then moved to Chicago on Juneteenth, that this Carmelo Anthony case, the appeals case, is getting more highlight, more coverage, more people speaking about it than what actually happened on Juneteenth. So let me bring you guys up to speed of what happened on Juneteenth on Friday. So 7 killed and dozens injured following a series of weekend shootings in Chicago. It states here that Chicago has led to at least 38 injuries and 7 deaths since Friday evening. Then Stephen A. goes on to state the amount of killings that have happened in Chicago, let alone the Black community. He's absolutely right. We have a lot of tragedies in our community, and we could connect the dots here, ladies and gentlemen, because, and this is not giving excuses, but this is actually giving reason behind the excuse that people will state that I'm making. What other group in America has been through what Black Americans have been through? No other group.
Yes, he did.
Whether it be slavery for over 200 some odd years, Jim Crow for over 100 years, but the entire system of slavery and the degradation of Black people in this country stems back over 400 years. And no other group has ever been through that. We've had COINTELPRO. We've had drugs to be pumped into the Black community by the 3 or 4 letter agencies. We have so many systemic issues that still go on today. And people would just say, you're just giving excuses. You're just giving reasons. Well, can we do an experiment here? Can that happen to the Asian community? Can that happen to the Hispanic community? Can that happen to the white community, and see where they'll be at today? Because if we keep giving excuses, but nobody never had our experiences, then what's the reason behind it? What's the reason behind mass incarceration? Then people would like to move the goalpost, so to speak. They would like to deflect. Well, that was Joe Biden and Bill Clinton. Wasn't Bill Clinton the first Black president? Absolutely not. Just because he smoked a little weed, got a head job in the White House, and he plays the saxophones don't make nobody a particular race or not.
Yes, definitely.
But the actions behind the paperwork. See, someone can shake your hand and then fire you the next day and then say it was just business.
You're fired.
And that's the way I see these systems. But again, there is amount of accountability and responsibility of the Black community to decrease the amount of murders that we have in our neighborhoods. We have the right to live safe. We have the right to economic freedom. We have the right not to look behind our backs. And that's just not the case as of today. So there is an amount of accountability and responsibility.
Okay.
He was basically stating that the Carmelo Anthony case received more attention and more highlights than what actually happened on Juneteenth, a celebration holiday for foundational Black Americans, for Black Americans of being released from slavery in Texas. And I totally get it. But here's the thing that I say, and a lot of people do not like when I say this, but it's the truth. Have we had Black Americans with no just cause to kill a white person, to kill an Asian person, to kill a Hispanic person? I'm pretty sure we have. But the ratio in difference, if we then turn that around, if we inverse it, Asian on Black, white on Black, Hispanic on Black, we're talking about 3 to 4 times more killings with someone who's being non-aggressive and unarmed. And you can check the statistics. And the reason why I bring that up, because the very next statement I'm making, a lot of you are not going to like.
What?
Let black people kill black people, because we keep saying this black on black crime.
I'm done.
And I made a video about white on white crime. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about in the proximity of where most people live. White people kill majority of white people. Black people kill majority of black people. Asian and Hispanic kills majority of their own kind. This is because we live in close proximity to one another, and majority of demographics and races live amongst themselves. So you're going to have more of more of more. If that makes any sense to anyone.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
But unfortunately, due to our 14%, not 13%, Stephen A., but due to our 14% population, we have more killings, we have more murders than any other demographic in America, and that absolutely need to change. So again, I'm not going to alleviate, I'm not going to retract that what he stated about accountability and responsibility. And I was just watching a PBD podcast. And again, I watch these just for information and research. OK, it's not that I enjoy them. OK, but they were combing down the crime in the black community. It were combing down into fatherless homes in the community. But they was never giving just cause of these reasons, of these systemic issues, that if things didn't happen in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. And we're talking about legislation that led to a lot of the conditions that the black community is in. But everybody is playing the fool. Everybody has selective memory. Because again, when I look at all the different communities in this country, whether it be the Jewish community, the white community, the Asian community, the Pacific Islander community, the Hispanic community, the Native American community, what demographic, what ethnic, what group of people have been through what we have been through in this country? None of them. So again, if it was 400 years, then we probably need about 400 to 800 years to get out of, because believe me, when it comes to trauma, when it comes to damage, especially legislatively, and it's still happening today under this administration. Yeah. It happened under the Biden administration. Yeah, it happened under the Bush administration. It happened under the Obama administration. But I'm not going to comb through those things because, ladies and gentlemen, we should already know this. Right? A lot of people adored and loved President Obama, but he didn't do anything specifically for us, but he did things specifically for Native Americans. He did things specifically for the LGBT community. People would then state, well, he can't just do anything just for black people. He did it just for the Native Americans. When we're talking about ethnic and race, I know LGBTQ covers a multitude of different people. I get it.
Why are you gay?
But here's the thing. Everybody keeps talking about black on black crime as if none of these other communities have the same thing. Yes, we do lead in murders when it comes to demographics. We do. Absolutely despicable. And I hate that when I go back home to Southeast DC, yes, I have to watch my back because we're not doing so well economically. I want you guys to think about systemic issues that have prevented Black American men, Black American women from going to college, obtaining a job, paying off loans, because all those things are cumulative and all those things need to be injected into these conversations instead of just saying they should go in Chicago and crack down on crime. The only thing you're going to do is have mass incarcerations, because the reason why some of these people are in the street jobs that they have, I just say they would either be streetwalkers, selling drugs, whatever it may be, is because of the systemic issues that prevent them from going to college, obtaining a loan to pay for college, and getting a suitable job for themselves and or the family they possibly made.
That call was perfect.
Now I want you to think about what I'm about to get into, because I want you guys to picture a Walmart parking lot in a small town in North Mississippi on a Sunday afternoon. Very ordinary cars, carts, families, and inside one silver sedan and a car seat is a 1-year-old baby boy named Kohen Kartier Wiley. 1-year-old, barely walking. And by the end of that afternoon, that baby is gone, shot by the police gunfire that went into the car he was riding in. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I was pointing out some of the despicable nature that's in our environments, in our neighborhoods, in our community, and the systemic issues behind them, to bring forward that if Black people are killing Black people at an exorbitant rate, at a very outrageous rate, then guess what? We don't need any damn help from any other demographic. We don't need Hispanic killing us. We don't need whites killing us. And we sure don't need the people who took a freaking oath to protect and serve. Because the only protection that we get is from ourselves. And that's not even that good. And the serving part is the police officers serving us bullets and caskets. That's the only thing, ladies and gentlemen. You see what I'm getting at? Because you may not like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. If we're killing ourselves 3 times more so than any other demographic and race and ethnic group in America, do you think we need any damn help from the police? Do you think we need any damn help from any other race? Absolutely not. Yes, we're going to be an endangered species if this does not change. See, here's my thing. Are we killing Black people more so than other races killing us? Possibly so. Absolutely. The statistics actually show that and prove that. But do we need assistance in the killing of our own people? Absolutely not. And that's the part that I don't hear. None of these YouTube pundits, none of these so-called influencers, none of these media moguls, none of them speak about the systemic issues that led up to this. Because again, no other group of people in this country have been what we went through. Again, if everybody loves experiments, if everybody just want to see the outcome, if people only want to bear the fruit of the comments and the subconscious bias that they have about Black people, then won't this country just flip the script? Won't we just kind of have people to go through what we've been through and see how you guys turn out? Now, granted, do I really want that? Absolutely not. Would that really happen? Absolutely not. We know we're not going back there. We know that the dominant power structure won't allow that to happen because they still need people to demonize. They still need people to have excuses. They still need people to say the reason why America is not great again is because diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, Black people. I mean, whoever we can blame at the time. That's the cause, ladies and gentlemen. That's the cause.
Marcus Keys.
Valicia Wiley.
Valicia Wiley lost her son to the negligence of law enforcement in Senatobia, Mississippi. Can you please tell what happened?
It was me, my son, and another friend of mine who was at Walmart. As we was leaving out the Walmart, they tried to stop her, but I kept walking because it had nothing to do with me. By the time me and my baby got in the car, she came. And then when we was backing up, they was running out the cone. I raised my baby up because they withdraw their gun. She had no tent. I raised my baby up trying to show them that he was in the car. So she was backing up and she hit a car as I was opening the door, so the door flew back in. By the time I sat my baby down, it was like 3 to 4 shots. One of the shots hit him in his rib cage, and the other shots hit her in her arm and her thigh. And we left and went to Senatobia hospital where he was pronounced dead at the scene. And they told me I wasn't going to be able to see him until he get back from Jackson. She got airlifted, and the police told me I couldn't leave out the hospital until somewhere I couldn't leave out, couldn't nobody come in. But I ended up walking out. And the crowd was questioning them, asking them what happened. They was like, she was shoplifting. But the passenger, it was me. They wasn't talking about me. They was talking about the driver. But on the little, what's it called, self-checkout, they can see, it's cameras, they can see when she got the diapers and walked out. But yeah, they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side, and she was driving towards the left. They just personally just shot in the car.
Did they try to charge you with anything?
No, they didn't charge me. They ain't charged me with nothing. They just let me go.
The classic police statements that someone was trying to run them off and use a vehicle as a weapon. There was a 1-year-old inside of this vehicle over a shoplifting call. A call his family says never even happened. And here's the part that tells you everything about where we are. When the people of that town came out to grieve, the answer they got was riot helmets and tear gas. I want you to sit with that. A baby is dead and the community that came to mourn him got gassed.
Lordy, that would be really bad.
So we still don't have issues in America when it's dealing with in situations in the Black community.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
Here's what we know. On Sunday, June 14th, 2026, officers from Senatobia Police Department and the Tate County Sheriff's Department responded to a reported shoplifting at a Walmart in Senatobia, and that's North Mississippi, less than an hour south of Memphis. Now, in the parking lot, the situation ended with the officers finding a silver sedan. Inside that car was a driver, a friend of the family, and 1-year-old Kohen. Now, Kohen was struck in the rib cage. The driver was hit in the arm and the thigh, and the baby was rushed into a hospital in Senatobia and pronounced dead. A 1-year-old child.
No.
The officer involved was placed on administrative leave by the mayor and the board of the aldermen, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation took over the case. Now, the family has retained civil rights attorney, no other than ambulance chaser, the one and only Ben Crump. The name you've heard attached to so many of these cases, which tells you how serious this is. And I want you to hold on to that smallness of it, because the smallness is the point. This wasn't a manhunt. This wasn't a shootout with an armed and dangerous suspect the whole city was searching for. This was a Sunday, a Walmart, a parking lot full of regular folks running errands. The kind of place that every single one of us has been 100 times. That's what makes it land so hard for me. Because if it can happen there over that to a baby strapped in the car seat, then the question stops being, what did they do wrong? And starts being, what protects the rest of us? And right now in that parking lot, the honest answer was nothing did. It makes me think about the situation. Someone's going to run a police officer over shoplifting. Is it possible? Anything's possible, but it's highly unlikely, at least in my opinion. Now, here's where you got to slow down and pay attention, because there are two stories on the table and they do not match. They don't match at all. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation says officers fired into the vehicle after the driver drove towards them. That's the official version. The car was a threat, so they shot. But the baby's mother, Ms. Wiley, tells it completely different. In a video released by attorney Ben Crump, she says that the driver was not driving towards the officers at all.
Huh? What?
Her words, the officers were all on the right side of the car and the driver was moving towards the left side of the car away from them. And she flatly denies there was any shoplifting to begin with. Yeah, what was shoplift? What's the item, the reason why the police was there in the first place? So which is it? Was that car a weapon aimed at officers, or was it a vehicle moving away while officers fired into it with a baby strapped in the back seat? Family, I cannot tell you which version is true.
I mean, my God.
And I'm not going to pretend that I can't. That's exactly why this matters, because there is one thing that can settle it. One thing that doesn't have a memory or a motive or rhetoric or absolutely takes a side, and that is the body camera footage, the tape. And until that tape comes out, every single person watching has the right to ask the only question that counts. What are we not being shown and why? And notice how fast that official language does its work. The vehicle drove towards officers. That one sentence is being built to end the conversation before it starts, to quietly move a 1-year-old from victim over unfortunate outcome of a threat. Maybe it's true. Maybe the footage backs it up from start to finish. But here's the line, family. You do not get to write the ending of the story and then sit on the only evidence that could check your work. Not when a baby is in the morgue. Transparency is the enemy of good policing, is it not? The only thing transparency threatens is a lie. So I want you guys to think about that. Here's another thing I've been thinking about for quite some time. Does the police have a software or a software system or interface that they upload their videotapes to that can alter the video with AI? Right? First, AI is being used to zoom in and pixelate so you can see it a lot better, maybe in 1K, 2K, 3K, 4. So there's a lot more clarity. But even in that technology, do they have the editing power to change if that vehicle was going left or going right and vice versa? If that vehicle was going right or going left, or vice versa? I'm just asking, because if we're going to implement, if we're going to infuse, and we're going to integrate AI into a lot of our systems, then we have to absolutely know the capabilities of that AI model. Because again, AI has gotten very, very good where some videos, you don't even know if AI is involved in or not unless they throw a little AI sticker that this was made with AI or AI generated. I'm just asking questions because if you don't think it's going to go there, and I'm not talking about this case in particular, it may just go there. Let me pull the camera back because this is the part of the story where a local headline becomes a national pattern. This is a reason police departments all over the country have policies. On paper, that discourage officers from firing into moving vehicles. You know why? Because it almost never makes anybody safer. A car with a wounded or dead driver doesn't stop. Have you guys ever thought about that? Now, the car is coming towards a police officer, and my questions would be, how far are the police away from the vehicle? Do they have time to react and get out of the way? Because if you're shooting inside the vehicle, don't you cause more harm of probably innocent bystanders instead of just getting out of the way, getting the license plate, and then reporting it or may in pursuit? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a former police officer. I'm just asking questions as a regular citizen.
Houston, we have a problem.
Because a car with a wounded or dead driver doesn't stop, does it not? It becomes a runaway vehicle, and the bullets that got into that car don't check who else is inside. A passenger, a friend, a 1-year-old in a car seat, all innocent. This is not the first time a family has buried somebody because gunfire went to a car over a non-violent call. A shoplifting report is a property complaint. It's not a death sentence. And nowhere in the policy of any police department in America does it say the appropriate response to maybe stolen merchandise at a Walmart, no less, is a hail of bullets into a sedan carrying a baby. When the response so wildly outweighs the alleged offense, that gap, that's not a personality flaw in one officer. That's a training problem, a policy problem, an accountability problem, Stephen A. And all at once, and understand who absorbs that gap. It's almost always a community, the Black community, that already has the least margin for error with law enforcement, the least benefit of the doubt, and the fewest resources to fight back when the case goes to court. See, when a department's worst mistake keep landing on the same kind of neighborhood, you're not looking at a streak of bad luck. You're looking at a pattern, and a pattern just policy by another name. The policy nobody wrote down, but everybody on the receiving end already knows by heart. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The part that should bother every American who believes in the right to assemble. After Cohen died, about 200 people's neighbors, families, friends, ordinary folks gathered downtown outside City Hall, less than a mile away from the Walmart. They weren't an army. They were a grieving community. And the response? Officers in riot helmets and gas masks lined up at the doors. And at one point, they appeared to fire gas to push the crowd back. Think about the message that sends. A baby is killed by police gunfire. And when the people come to mourn, and to demand answers, the same institution meets them with chemical agents. That's not public safety. That's intimidation. The right to peacefully assemble is in the First Amendment. It's not a privilege. It's a right we are born with. And when a community gets gas for grieving, the message they've been sent is to be quiet, go home, don't ask. Family, we're not going to be quiet and we are not going to go home. So what does this mean for Black America? And what do you actually do with it? First, we need to understand the blind spot dynamic. Now, the big networks did cover this, CNN, CBS, ABC, but the people carrying it the hardest, keeping the family's account in frame, are the Black press and the Mississippi Free Press. The national machine moves on in 48 hours. We don't. The story isn't over when the satellite trucks leave. For a family in Senatobia, it's just the beginning. And let's be honest about where this is happening. Mississippi carries a long and heavy history when it comes to Black life and whoever answers for it. Generations of families who learned the hard way that a death could go unexamined and a town could quietly close ranks. This history is not an accusation against every officer or every neighbor in Senatobia today, but it is exactly where the people, they are right to insist, loudly and without apology, that this particular time, the record be complete. The investigations be truly independent, if that's ever a thing. And the tape being shown to the public. The past is the whole reason the present has to demand receipts. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when your history is the doubt. The fight now is a fight for the tape and a fight for honesty. Independent investigation. The FBI is in charge. Watch whether their findings line up with the family's account or the department's, and watch whether the body cam footage is released to the public or buried in a drawer. Transparency isn't a favor in a case where a 1-year-old is dead. It's the bare minimum. This is why we point you to the resources every single night, every single day, knowing your rights when you're stopped, knowing how to demand footage, knowing the accountability data on your local department. That's not paranoia, that's power. The most dangerous thing to a system that wants you quiet is a community that knows exactly what is owed. So here's the big picture. A 1-year-old child is dead. 2 stories don't match. A tape is sitting somewhere that could tell the truth. And a grieving town got tear gas for asking. These stories may look like isolated local tragedies, but they are all connected by one power. Who has it, who abuses it, who gets protected, and who pays the price. Say his name, Kohen Wiley. And let's keep watching this one until the tape drops, whenever it does. And by the way, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with somebody who needs to hear the truth behind the headlines and don't agree, and someone who understands the systemic issues that still plague the Black community today. And at the end of the day, if you want to point the finger at Black people, then point the finger at the past and present.